Kamala Harris has joined a bunch of presidential hopefuls and mainly Democrat, contenders for 2020 on swearing off taking corporate PAC money, right? That's sort of in vogue to say that now. There's an article by Zeeshan Aleem in the Intercept that kind of breaks down what's actually happening, because what the article contends, and it's something that I've been talking about and warning about, is in a lot of ways it's an empty gesture. So like with Kamala Harris, she said, I'm not taking any super PAC money, but then we'll get large donations from people that work for super PAC, like individual donations. You see how they get around that? So it's something for all of us to pay attention to here in 2018 as the primaries. The California primary is June 5th, which I will absolutely be voting in. I will be voting out people like Dianne Feinstein. But you got to pay attention, because this is why the Democrats are so slippery, is they will make these gestures. They will, it's like they put Tom Perez on that unity tour with Bernie Sanders. It's like, ugh, what is he doing here? So Cory Booker, Kristen Gillibrand, Elizabeth Warren, Maria Cantwell have all said they're, and well, Bernie Sanders, but he's an independent. And this is, Kamala Harris said, Kamala Harris is doing it as a political move to try to get progressives to vote for her and to be president in 2020. So Michael J. Malbin, a campaign finance researcher at Rockefeller College of Public Affairs and Policy, pointed out to The Intercept that Harris has received only a small amount of her total campaign funding from PACs. However, she also received many of her itemized contributions from individuals whose income is derived from their work at corporate executives. I'm just an individual citizen, and here's a big $20,000 check for Kamala Harris. I mean, yeah, sure, I'm paid for, I work at Merck Pharmaceuticals, but hey, I can donate my money how I see fit. So OpenSecrets, a project for the Center for Responsive Politics, tracked and categorized PAC donations between 2013 and 2018. The data reveals that most of the senators who've sworn off corporate PAC money received more from large individual donors. That's donors giving $200 or more, who can be regular people, but also corporate executives and lobbyists than from PACs at any time in the period. So 10.37% of Cory Booker's campaign funding has come from PACs, 76.4% of which is from business PACs. By contrast, 72% of Booker's campaign funding is from large individual donors. Maria Cantwell, just 0.62% of Cantwell's campaign funding has come from PACs of any kind. In contrast, 73% of her campaign funding has come from large donors. Kristen Gillibrand, 6.9% of Gillibrand's campaign funding has come from PACs. Of this proportion, 65% is from business PACs. 62% of her funding has come from large individual donors. Kamala Harris, 4.89% of Harris's campaign fundraising has been through PACs. 41% of this total has been from business PACs. By contrast, almost 65% of her campaign funding has come from large donors. Though the OpenSecrets analysis covered a 5-year period, in Harris' case, it only goes back to 2015 when she first ran for U.S. Senate. Bernie Sanders, 1.73% of Sanders' funding has come from PACs. Of that, 7.2% from business PACs. 17% of his funding has come from large individual contributors. Do you see the difference here? 65% from individual donors for Kamala Harris, 62% from Gillibrand, 70, Cory Booker 72%, Maria Cantwell 73%. Right? That shows you that Bernie Sanders, I mean, that's what was so powerful about him and why he is terrified and still terrifies and why they try to bring him into the fold, is he didn't have billionaires backing him. He had people of all ages giving him $27 checks. And that's why it was so scary, is especially the millennials. So many millennials identify as independents, they identify as socialists, and they identified with Bernie Sanders. And that's a threat. He's a threat to capitalism when that kind of stuff happens. You can't get that much power off of just the people. No way. You need big corporate people to write you giant checks, which is what the majority of these people do. This is important. Elizabeth Warren, just 1.4% of Warren's campaign money has come from PACs. Of that, 12.9% is from business PACs. Large individual donors make up 29.72% of her campaign funding. I'm sorry, I'm not sold on Elizabeth Warren. She has done some good things. She does some of the good fight, but I think she's more dangerous because she'll, you know, I mention this often, you know, she last year really went after that CEO from Wells Fargo. She, you know, grilled him and gave him what for in that Senate hearing, right? He still got his $124 million severance package. She just seems very, like, knows how to play it corporate Democrat. I'll fight for you, and her Twitter feeds all fight you, fight, Trump, Trump. But she, let's not forget, was one of 5 Democrats last fall that signed off to give Trump $80 billion more for the defense budget. Elizabeth Warren did that. So don't be fooled at all. Don't be fooled by any of these folks. I mean, the lowest percentage of individual contributors is Bernie Sanders. Elizabeth Warren's still like just under 30%. And I'm not saying Bernie is, you know, I don't know what Bernie's deal is, man. I don't know. But what this proves, what this shows with everybody, like Booker, Cantwell, Gillibrand, and Harris specifically, is that they're swearing off campaign PACs, but it doesn't mean much. If 65, 70% of your donations come from large individual donors, then those are corporate people writing you corporate checks and telling you what you should or should not be voting for. That's how that's going down. Yeah. So it's an interesting, read the whole article, but it's the final line in this thing by Zeeshan Aleem is where I stand. Simply curtailing corporate PACs when they don't play a very large role in campaigns to begin with isn't going to do much. And it's nice not taking corporate PAC money, but if you're still getting if they find a loophole or a backdoor to get corporate money and they don't vote to change campaign finance reform. That's the other thing. Are they voting to change campaign finance reform? If that's the majority of their money comes from big corporations, I doubt that they will. So don't fall for the little empty gestures of the Democratic Party. Don't fall for them. Do the research, which is what this article did, which is what I'm doing and what you're doing by coming to this show. Thanks for supporting it. I don't take corporate PAC money. I'm supported by you guys. So go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and keep supporting this show. Thank you.